right, here we go. Episode 1, Check Your Ears podcast. I'm Colton.
And I'm Roy.
Welcome. This is our first episode of yet another podcast. This is going to be a music podcast, but we are going to approach things, we think, a little differently.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of music podcasts out there talk about like the album or the artist, which, don't get us wrong, we'll talk about and is important. But we're also going to really center this podcast around live performances and tours and production and all the fun parts after an album comes out.
Yeah, I think that's one of our favorite parts of the music industry, having the opportunity to go to concerts and have that fan experience and see our favorite performers live. So we kind of wanted to approach a podcast this way and have the opportunity to just talk about something that interests us. But we'll tell you a little bit about us.
So Colton and I met a decade ago now, 2015 at UConn. Go Huskies. We were actually on the rowing team together and also worked as tour guides. So as you can imagine, we were probably the coolest people on campus.
Yeah, don't mess with us.
But we also at the time, I think, to varying degrees, worked on this group called Concert Committee, which helped put on the school's big spring concert.
People like number one, Khalid, I think just comes to
Khalid did come
top of my head as being a really, right before he catapulted into his huge era. I came to UConn and that was one of my favorite shows. So it was concerts like that. And I think participating in that committee gave Roy and I an opportunity to see the other side of the show when the crew comes to load in and set up the stage. And obviously the biggest concerts were held in the basketball arena where the basketball teams played and other like large events happened. So that there was no stage there. So they had to build a stage and we got to help the crew out and see that side of it. And I think that was sort of an interesting thing that has stuck with Roy and I all these years. And a couple years ago, I moved to DC and Roy and I were just talking and said, hey, it's 2026. Let's do something different. Let's have a little passion project. So
let's break up the mundaneness of everyday life.
Let's break up the week, find something to engage with a hobby. So here we are.
So basically the way it's going to work is each episode, we're going to start off with a weekly sound check segment where we talk about the three, maybe not the three biggest moments in pop music or pop culture that week, but at least three moments we care about and want to talk about.
Three moments that are big to us.
And then we'll get into the episode's topic for a majority of the time. And then at the end, we'll have what we call What's in Your Ears segment, which is essentially what we've been listening to that week and a song that's kind of just been stuck in our heads.
Why don't we tell them why we're calling this Check Your Ears?
Right. So Check Your Ears came, as you probably know if you're on this episode, this episode's going to be about the Radical Optimism tour. And we were having a debate before we went to the show in September whether Dua Lipa sound checks her set before each night's show.
He was specifically talking about her in-ear monitors or that thing that goes in her ear to...
Right, because I thought, I'm pretty sure I said she's got to check her ears.
And I was just arguing that someone else is going to do that for her. She's not getting there hours ahead of time to put this thing in and test.
A plot twist, she is.
No. Plot twist, she showed up hours early to rehearse the cover that she did, not to...
We don't know the full.
We don't know the full.
We don't know the full.
But anyway, it has become now an inside joke, and we say, we got to check our ears.
Right.
And
any time when we prepare for something, we're checking
our ears. So.
Whether that often has nothing to do actually with our ears. So if you're confused and thought this was a medical podcast, it's not. Okay, well, with that, maybe we can go into the weekly sound check. First top story this week, Harry Styles has a new album coming out.
Harry Styles. Yeah. So it's been a couple years.
4.
Okay. 4. It's been 4 years since his last album. He's been away for a while. He's been doing some movies.
Yes.
So, famously, My Policeman.
Don't Worry, Darling.
Right. So he was in his actor era.
But now he's back.
With
Kiss Me Tomorrow.
Kiss Me
Disco.
All the Time. Disco
occasionally. That's
disco
what it is.
occasionally. That's it. Kiss Me
All the Time. Disco occasionally.
Right.
Or maybe Kiss Me All...
Well, we'll just go ahead and read it to you. So it's not lost on me about this.
Kiss All the Time, Disco occasionally.
Right. And I think that he could have workshopped that title a little bit.
Well, he did go to the Lana School of Album Naming. Because this is a pretty long album.
So unnecessarily long.
Yeah. But I do think, I'm excited for it. It's been 4 years.
When is it coming out?
March 6th. What do you think about Harry's?
I don't know. I mean, I've never been
You're a
a
hater.
huge. Oh, okay. I wouldn't say I'm a hater. I just say that I'm not the biggest Harry Styles fan. I think he's got some good hits. Watermelon sugar high, like that's good. But I feel like he's been gone so long, I think he's kind of lost a little bit of relevance. And now there's other people kind of taking over that wow stage factor that he's been doing, his shtick, for lack of a
I'm
better
a
word.
little scared for you to say who this person is who's taking
Well,
over.
I know how you. Okay. I'm not saying taking over. I'm saying Benson Boone has stepped into that form of live performance, basically wearing sparkly jumpsuits, except Benson Boone could do flips, as we all know.
He does have a good flip. I don't know. I'm excited. I think it's time for Harry to make a comeback. It's been 4 years.
I'm looking forward to it. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, it's giving dance. It's giving disco.
All the time, actually, or occasionally.
So I'm interested to see where he goes from it, because I think he had his like alternative era. So I don't know. Maybe, I mean, this could definitely stay in that lane too, but maybe be a little bit more upbeat. I'm interested.
Did you see that video that I sent you the other day of Harry Styles' audition?
Yes. Famously not a
me.
great audition.
Yeah, it was not a great audition.
No, the One Direction boy, Simon had a vision.
He saw, that guy knows talent.
The second moment from this week, another album release by Blackpink, a mini album called Deadline.
What's a mini album?
I don't know. I think it's just a short. I think it's just like going to be like 7 songs or something.
Like, so just call it an EP.
Right. Or an LP. It's one of those two.
What's a
limited
partnership?
It's not limited part.
No.
Limited play, extended play is the.
Oh, I see.
But yeah, I'm excited. I mean, I famously was a big fan of Jenny's album.
Oh, you love Jenny.
Ruby, I thought was a great album. But the Blackpink girls were doing their own little thing for.
Yeah, they were. That's what's curious to me is like they were all on very successful little side ventures on their own solo kind of mission, and it was really good. A lot of people had big success on those solo ventures, so it's kind of interesting the timing of them coming back together for this mini
right.
set.
I mean, there is the theory. I think I was talking about this the other day, where their record label has been financially struggling. So there's this like conspiracy theory. Well, it's not a conspiracy. It's probably very true. Where they're
also tour,
where they're bringing them back to make them some money.
Get out of the White Lotus Hotel and get
back. And so I don't know. I'm excited.
Also, we're coming off the heels of K-pop Demon Hunters, and I think for people who were not into K-pop before, like I did not listen to K-pop. I didn't know really anything about K-pop, and then K-pop Demon Hunters, the movie came out, and that album was so good. I think it kind of blew up in the US in a way, and like broadened the horizons or broadened the potential market for people who are interested in K-pop. Yeah. So I wonder if this album will be even more successful. Obviously, they're so successful internationally, but here in the US, like, will they even capitalize even more on that success following K-pop Demon Hunters? Golden.
I would assume
Golden is the Grammys, right? They're not.
Yeah, they're nominated for Song of the Year,
I think so.
Or Record of the Year, one of the two. And it will probably win.
I hope they perform live too.
They probably will.
Yeah, I think
I would be.
I saw it was like on Jimmy Fallon.
So yeah, I think that I'm excited. I think obviously 2 big album releases already for 2026 coming up. Okay, so the topic for today's podcast, an artist that is very near and dear to us, for no good reason other than we just really like her music, but also me and this artist are both Albanian, so I feel like we're cousins. Yeah. So we're going to be talking about Dua Lipa's Radical Optimism tour and the album that inspired it all. Radical Optimism, Dua Lipa's 3rd studio album. It was released in 2024, so it's been out for a while now. It did pretty well on the charts. It debuted at number 2 on the Billboard 200. It was number 1 in the UK, which was actually the biggest opening week for a British female pop star since Adele's 30 in 2021. So I'm sure Dua was super pumped about that. And today has over 2 billion streams on Spotify.
So by a lot of metrics, it was a successful album, but people still call it a flop.
Yeah.
Why though?
I think it's because, okay, I have a couple of theories on this, which we've talked about. But one, I think the biggest one, in my opinion, is that it came off of the Dua Lipa album, I think her magnum opus to this day, which is Future Nostalgia. I mean, that album was like kind of the soundtrack to one, the pandemic in a way, and two, even like post pandemic. Like it lived on for quite literally almost 3 years between the album coming out and her wrapping up the Future Nostalgia tour.
Well, I remember it being the pandemic and everybody saying, "Oh my God, I can't wait to hear Levitating in the bar in the
Yeah,
club for the first time."
totally. So I think that album was just, I mean, not only was it such a powerhouse like music moment in the culture, but it also was a really good album. And I think was so successful that no matter what was going to come after it, it had to essentially like blow everyone away. And unfortunately, I don't think Radical Optimism was that for Dua.
So I think it was also a timing issue. When you think about the first single from the album, Houdini, and then Training Season coming out in February of 2024, I don't think anyone could predict that summer 2024 we would have huge pop stars, the emergence of two huge pop stars, one being Sabrina Carpenter. We saw her meteoric rise following Coachella, and then Chapel Roan out
Yeah.
of nowhere.
And I mean, you had Taylor Swift releasing Tortured Poets Department in April. You had Billy releasing Hit Me Hard and Soft in May, right after Dua. And so, yeah, I agree. It was a timing issue, but I think it was also a marketing issue, as I've also talked about, which is when Houdini came out. I mean, Dua like dyed her hair red. Every piece of marketing and brand around this new album, at the time unnamed, was intense and red and kind of grungy. Training Season very much followed in that vein. And then you had the album announcement. It's like a Euro summer vacation vibe, and she's like swimming in Barcelona with a shark.
I don't know. This didn't bump me as much as I think it bothers you, because I think that ordinary person isn't like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
I don't know. I think there was a lot of discourse online of like, this is not what we were expecting.
Yeah.
No, but I think you're underestimating the power of marketing in music, or really with anything, which is like when you like paint a vibe around something, you make people think that that's what you'll be delivering. And then when you deliver something else, they might not analyze it step by step the way I did it, but it does leave people with like, oh, I'm uninterested now because this actually isn't what I like intrinsically thought it was going to be.
I respectfully disagree, because I just think that...
Well, I think you're wrong.
Okay, well, to be clear, he works in marketing, so this is like why he is like on this whole shtick. But it doesn't matter how she marketed the package. It's that the package got delivered at a time when other people had vastly more successful things that they delivered.
I do think it's important to note that Dua said that she was very inspired by like the live performance element of making music when she was making this album. And so I think it was like part of what makes Radical Optimism successful at the end of the day is like how it was going to live through its live touring.
Yeah, and I actually do agree with that. And I think also we're being critical of Radical Optimism in the context of how it performed with Future Nostalgia, but I do think Radical Optimism is an amazing album.
You think it's her best?
I think it's her best.
I don't know. I still think Future Nostalgia is number one.
But as we jump to the tour aspect of this, I think you're right. The live instrumentation and how these songs show up on tour just highlights how successful of an album it was, because this album came to life on tour. I mean, if we just jump to the tour, Roy and I saw the Radical Optimism twice, back-to-back nights in Miami, and we saw it once from the balcony and once from the floor. Two very different experiences, and we'll walk through that. And just looking at some of the metrics, it was 81 shows worldwide. It grossed 141 million in the first 59 shows. So that even surpasses the metrics from the Future Nostalgia tour, where it grossed $89 million in the first 71 shows. So from revenue standpoint alone, it was a very successful tour. So in comparing those metrics and that number to, say, for example, Tate McRae's Miss Possessive tour, which is happening now or just wrapped up? Just wrapped up, which people were really into, that grossed $78 million across 62 shows. So even as top pop stars right now, the Radical Optimism tour is outperforming them.
Right. I mean, but it was also a bigger tour. Like Dua sold over 1 million tickets. It was in stadiums across Europe, North America. I mean, she was still doing mostly um, arenas outside of Mexico. But so yeah, I think it was a very successful tour. But also, I think speaks to like Dua's popularity in pop music. Like, I still think she is a very popular singer and just sort of like personality in the pop music space. So I don't know. I think the Radical Optimism tour, by all metrics, was very successful. And I do think, regardless of the album quote unquote flopping compared to other Dua standards, it speaks to her ability to sort of stay relevant in in the in the mix of all these other releases, and people like still want to go see Dua. They still want to go see a Dua show.
Well, because the Dua show itself is just, I mean, it's so engaging. There was no lull from beginning to end. I mean, when we look at the set list of the Radical Optimism tour, it was every song from the Radical Optimism album, with the exception of French Exit, which I know you're happy about.
I don't love that song personally, but we can agree and disagree.
You said Dua doesn't even like that.
I have a theory she doesn't, but she might love it, and maybe it's just a really painful song for her.
Sorry if we're bringing up,
but yeah, I mean it's not a bad song. It's just like I would rather listen to other songs on Radical Optimism.
Yeah. So the set list was basically, in Roy's opinion, every really good song from Radical Optimism, plus all of her hits.
Right.
So all the hits from Future Nostalgia, all the hits from the Dua Lipa self-entitled album, you know, going back to even 2015 would Be the One, which was like her first breakout hit.
So the show was 4 acts. Each act was supposed to represent sort of like an element. So I think there was a lot of like water, fire, air. There was like space kind of intertwined, maybe kind of like a throwback to Future Nostalgia. So the set list I thought flowed pretty well. It was, I don't know if it was necessarily telling like an end-to-end story in the way that like, you know, Beyonce's Cowboy Carter show was like very much thematic in that way. But I do think Dua was obviously very much inspired by like all these natural elements, which, you know, obviously kind of like speaks to the theme of radical optimism and like happiness and finding your joy in the midst of hard times.
Yeah, I don't think there was one narrative or complete story that was being told, but all of the acts flowed really well into each other and with each other. And I also think, just looking at the stage design itself, this was a stage designed by Tate Towers, which basically had a wave like staircase element as the main feature on the stage, but it was very screen intensive. It relied on a lot of screens and lighting elements to
the lighting was amazing throughout the entire show.
Yeah, so it's a wave like stage with a lift right in the middle and different entrances through the sides of each side of that wave, so that the dancers can kind of flow on and flow off at any point. In addition to the wave stage element, there was also 2 really large LED light rings that hung from the top of the arena, which came down primarily in the encore.
Yeah, when she was singing like New Rules and stuff. It was pretty sick. Yeah, I mean the stage was really cool. I thought it was like simple but yet effective and energetic and fun. She also had those like lighting features, which I was like obsessed with, that would randomly like drop down right above your head, and it would be like a club for 10 minutes or whatever.
Yeah, it did feel that way. It felt like, especially, you know, in the second night we were on the floor, and it felt very much that club environment where there were so many people just dancing and the lights are going. I'll come back to it.
And yeah, and no, I mean, I really liked it. And then she also did this thing at every show where she would do a cover from the city that she was performing in or by that artist. And I thought that was like a really fun way to kind of keep the audience engaged and also kind of like on their toes around what was coming next.
Yeah.
So in Miami, the first night she did Gloria Estefan's Conga.
Oh, it was so good.
Which was really good.
And we saw that from the balcony. And so what I think was really cool in this part of the show helped break up the concert. Like, she brings the band forward, she brings the background singers, who were amazing, to right into the middle of the floor, and it's almost like a jazz, like you're in a jazz club,
yeah,
cabaret type moment where it feels very intimate.
Right.
And
So like going back to, I think again, she was like so into the live music piece of this album that like, I think she really wanted to like make that front and center as part of the tour.
I think it also just one of those things, like from the tour perspective, it immediately made a headline in newspapers at every stop of the tour because it was like, oh, who is she bringing out as a guest? What was the song going to be? So did you have a favorite cover from the tour that you really liked?
I think one of my favorite ones was in MSG. She sang Alicia Keys' "No One," and she played like the video when she was 11 years old in the background. And Alicia Keys was in the audience too, which I think is just really cool. I think yours was Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
Shaka Khan.
Shaka Khan. She sang "Ain't Nobody," and Shaka Khan is so like, she's like
screaming.
Yeah. Ain't nobody. She's just like doing that in the background. And it was, I mean, Shaka Khan's older now, but she was such a performer. And I remember my mom listening to Shaka Khan when I was growing up. So it felt a little nostalgic for me.
Yeah.
Nostalgic. I was so lucky to be there in Miami for Conga because
that one was really cool.
To see how much the crowd got into it. And we were in the balcony so we could see the whole arena going crazy. I mean, it was awesome. Yeah, the band's so amazing.
Fun. Yeah, and it was just crazy to me how like they would learn these songs basically in like 12 hours.
Yeah. And I mean, it's just what like talent that not only she has, but her band that they could just.
And a lot of these songs she sang in different languages. Like in Europe, she would literally learned like Czech, or I don't even know if that's a language, but I think it is. We're gonna fact check that. She learned different, like she sang something in German. She obviously sang in Spanish, which she is learning French, etc. So like, I mean, that was pretty cool, I thought too. And also, I just think, again, I think people sometimes, part of the critique that the public gives Dua is that she's not like personable enough or doesn't necessarily have like the fan connection. But I think stuff like this.
Why does she need to be personal?
Yeah. I mean, I think,
I thought she was like super personal. I mean, she ran out into the crowd at one point. Yeah. Reading people's signs.
Yeah. I think she just has a different approach to it than like some other singers who are kind of like Dua will not divulge like the private parts of her life or what she's struggling with.
But I think that's good. Keep that separation.
But I think like the culture has been so used to singers like really pouring their hearts out around like every parts of their life, not to mention any names because we'll probably be canceled. And like I don't know if you need to be willing to do all of that to be a successful.
Obviously, I don't know her life, but she seems to be pretty happy right now. She met her man at a coffee shop. They were reading the same book.
She's living a good life.
From what it looks like.
So, as last question before we wrap this up, we saw her in the balcony.
Yeah,
we saw the same show from the floor.
Yeah.
Which one would you rather do?
I mean, this is kind of a dumb question. I mean,
floor all the way.
Floor, of course. The stage allowed for really good sight lines no matter where you were.
That's true.
So the way the stage was set up, you didn't have a bad view. And I think I really liked being on the balcony so that I could see the whole arena being engaged.
Yeah, because you saw the tour as kind of like a performance in itself.
Exactly.
Like you saw all the pieces moving and like the transitions and the lighting.
And a lot of the lighting elements were more visible when you were on the balcony and kind of created that, that club element, even though you weren't on the floor. And when we were on the floor, we were getting blasted with confetti. I mean, we saw the guys were loading up these cannons and we were like, oh, God only knows when this is going to blow off.
They had no budget threshold for this.
Yeah, the confetti budget is high.
Okay, so what's next for Dua? Like, where do you think she goes? Radical Optimism, the album came out. Radical Optimism tour wrapped up. She's getting married at some point in the future. She's engaged, obviously. Like, where is she going next?
Well, I think it was interesting. There was something that happened in Mexico. She posted it was several days after the tour ended, her last show.
She was signing something.
She was filming something in Mexico, and she posted like last work day of the year.
Oh, I think it was another YSL fragrance commercial that just came out this week because she was in like a desert somewhere. So I don't know if maybe that's what it was for, but it was maybe that's what she was filming.
It's probably not a music video is what we're gathering.
I think like obviously Dua likes to challenge herself. Like I don't think she really likes to recycle the same thing over and over again. Although that has been some like critique of her and in the sense that Radical Optimism maybe sounded a bit too much like future nostalgia. But I do think she like likes to push herself. And so I can imagine her maybe trying out a different sound, or maybe even like challenging herself in terms of the songwriting. I know she's working with Mark Ronson on this next one, and they've been writing together. So I could see something really cool coming out. I can't really predict what it'll be. I know it won't be sad. That's the one thing Dua does.
It's not going to be sad.
She doesn't do sad music. And I think with her getting married and being on vacation every week, it's going to be a happy.
No, her life is just a vacation. She's not on vacation. She's just living.
Right.
She's living a good life.
But it's crazy because she also does like the book club, which, I only read Dua Lipa approved books.
Which is also just like, she's such a well-rounded person.
Right. She's like learning multiple languages.
I'm like, why is she so cool?
Doing a podcast interviewing the authors of the books she's reading. She has a lifestyle newsletter.
Her interviewing Margaret Atwood and just like being intellectual. And I'm like, oh, so not only is she a pop star, she's also really smart.
Right. Like that's why I think like Dua literally is like, I can afford to live exactly the way that I want and like learn the things that I want to learn about and be like a student of whatever I want or find passion in. I think that's really cool. So obviously music is one piece of a lot of things she does, but I'm excited for her. I think this will be a really good. I think she's gonna I think she wants the #1 US album. She hasn't had a #1 in the US yet.
Yeah.
And I think she really wants it.
And I think she's been following a normal progression of the way the tours grow. So in the US, it's typically like theater, arena, then stadium. And I think maybe if this next album is successful in the way that she probably hopes it will be, we can probably expect US stadium dates.
I probably agree with that, which is a bummer because as much as I'm very proud of her for making it to a stadium.
So from
level show.
Albanian.
I think, from the audience perspective, arenas are just better. I mean, you can just do so much, and I think the stadium is so much less personal. And I mean, even like Lady Gaga, for example, like with her recent tour, like she purposely didn't do stadiums for that reason.
To make it theatrical.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I'm sure Dua will go for stadiums. Like, I think that's a very normal.
Well, and I think she's used to doing it. So I think it's interesting like how the staging changed from the stadium dates to the arena dates. Like, it's kind of cool how they fit that in together. All right, so we made it to our last segment of the episode. This is going to be a weekly segment we call What's in Your Ears. So, Roy, what are you listening to this week? What's in your ears?
So what's been in my ears this week is this song called Big Guy by Ice Spice. It goes, SpongeBob Big Guy Pants Okay. It's a great song. It's not serious by any means, but it's written for the SpongeBob movie, and it is truly like
how did they decide Ice Spice is going to be in the SpongeBob?
I don't know. Because she has a full character. Like, she is a fish. I don't know, but I'm very happy that they did because it came out with some great art.
Yeah.
So that's what's been in my ears this week. What's been in your ears?
Okay, so I think mine's a little more serious. But I've been on a big Ray kick recently. And this is not a new song or anything, but it's actually from 2023. But I cannot stop listening to Oscar-winning Tears. Baby, baby, you can go ahead, cry those Oscar-winning tears.
I mean, Ray's so good. I'm so excited for her next album.
And we're going to try to go see her. She's coming to DC in April. It's currently sold out. So we're going to try to see it, try to break down the show for you all if we can get tickets.
And we know she's coming with a full orchestra.
And she doesn't travel anywhere without a 15-piece band. So maybe more, which I love. I think that's her thing. And I think it works really well with her sound. It's like her kind of like old timey voice.
Yeah.
Not old timey, but it's classic.
Yeah.
It's classic sound.
Okay. So that was it for episode 1.
Thanks for listening. Thanks for bearing with us as we figure this podcast thing out. And we're excited. We hope you join us next week for our episode on... We're not sure what next week's episode is going to be, but it's going to be good.
So make sure to follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcast.
And you can follow us on Instagram at CheckYourEarsPod.
All right. 0 followers. So please.
We have 0 Well, we have 2, you and I.
Right.
So...
Okay, that's it.
All right, so we'll see you soon.